Hey folks, welcome to Pause with the people of Trinity United Church in Prince George, British Columbia. We're really glad that you're able to take some time to spend with us in reflection, grounding, and prayer. Special welcome to anyone who might be joining us as part of the UNBC community. And as we begin, we acknowledge that it's our privilege to share this moment with you from the unceded traditional territory of the Lheidli T'enneh, who have been stewards of this piece of Turtle Island for over 9,000 years. Every week, 3 times, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, we share an experience similar to this one. We post the videos at 7 p.m. on those days, but you can use them anytime, any place, as part of your own spiritual practice. You can also join us for worship on Sunday mornings, all the usual digital places, or you can join us in person at 10 a.m. Pacific. Came across a piece of music this week by G. Michael Peters. It's entitled, "Have I Lived a Good Life?" It's part of his new EP that's coming out next week, so you'll soon be able to download and pay for and support Michael in listening to this piece. But for now, I want to share it with you as part of our reflection for this evening. I think Michael asks a really important question that, if we're honest, many of us wrestle with all the time, especially as we move through this ongoing pandemic, however it's evolving or not, whether we like the decisions that are being made or not. The reality of it is we live in community, in connection with one another. And at some point, we all ask the question, have I lived a good life? Now, I guess we'd have to start to unpack first what is meant by a good life. And at least for ourselves, we might have to come to some kind of agreement about that. And if we're having conversations with others, then it would be good if we're all singing from the same hymn book or songbook, at least on the same page of the same book. What constitutes a good life? Well, if I'm honest, I think that changes as you move through the ages and stages of life. I think what constituted a good life for me when I was 5 or 6 years old is quite different than when I was 15 or 16, and different again from when I was 25 or 6 or 30s or 40. I anticipate it will change again as I move into my 50s, 60s, 70s, and hopefully beyond. But is there a thread that runs through that, especially as we get older? I'm pretty sure my younger self was particularly self-centered. What a good life was for me was literally for me. You know, did my parents not make me eat all my vegetables? Did I get the toy I'd asked for? Was I able to go out and play with my friends as late as I wanted to? Did I get away with not doing my chores? You know, kid stuff. But it was very much focused on me, and the sphere of what might have been included in the goodness of life was pretty small. One of the things that I've realized is that as I have grown and matured, that circle has grown and grown and grown again. It's now no longer really about me. It's about that web of interconnectedness. It's about others. How I gauge my good life isn't about whether or not I'm now encouraged to eat all my vegetables, or I can get away with not taking out the garbage, or if I've been on a trip recently, or bought a new car, or a new piece of technology. Those things are nice, but they don't constitute a good life, at least not for me. And I think part of that is what happens when you ground yourself in holy mystery, when you ground yourself in a sacred other. Then the goodness of life can never just be about your own personal needs and wants. I've often talked about Martin Buber and the notion of I and thou. The good life can never be solely rooted in the I. It must always be rooted in the more expansive understanding of the thou. Michael Peters' piece, Have I Lived a Good Life, reminded me of that this week. And I wonder if you take a moment as you're listening to the lyrics, what would you say constitutes a good life? Is it just stuff for you? Is it just stuff for others? I'd argue neither one of those is balanced. How do you define it? How would you know that you've achieved it? Is it even something that we should be striving to achieve? Have any of us lived a good life up to this moment? And if not, what are some of the changes that we might need to make within ourselves and within our networks and the way we move and breathe and have our being in creation in order to say yes? And if we've said yes, that's great. What else could we do? Is it enough to say we've checked the box, or is striving for a good life a daily journey? One that accumulates day after day, week and month and year after year. Let's take a moment to reflect on what a good life might be, and could we live one, as we watch Have I Lived a Good Life? From G. Michael Peters.
All alone on a mountaintop, looking down upon the clouds, thought about what drove me here, pushed me high above the crowds. And I know that I once was an acrobat that couldn't fall, thought I had life figured out, but now I'm questioning it all. My younger days are in the rear view, no longer driven to the chase. I wonder if I made a difference to anyone or any place. Have I lived a good life? Have I given more than taken? Ever left a friend forsaken in times of need? Did I love with all I could? Did I fight the fights worth fighting? Right the wrongs that needed righting? Choose love over greed? Have I lived a good life? Have I lived a good life? Hope I've lived a good life. Hope I've lessened someone's pain or helped them learn to fly, get back on their feet again. If I've lived a good life, I'll leave here with no regrets, knowing that I've done my best with this one life we all get. My younger days are in the rear view, no longer driven to the chase. I wonder if I made a difference to anyone or any place. Have I lived a good life? Have I given more than taken? Ever left a friend forsaken in times of need? Did I love with all I could? Did I fight the fights worth fighting? Right the wrongs that needed righting? Choose love over greed? Have I lived a good life? Have I lived a good life? Yes, I've lived a good life. My memories sure are full, and I've had me lots of smiles, and my heartstrings have been pulled, but I know that in the end we're all riding the same train, and the only question is, would we ride it over again? Have I lived a good life? Have I given more than taken? Ever left a friend forsaken in times of need? Did I love with all I could? Did I fight the fights worth fighting? Right the wrongs that needed righting? Choose love over greed? Have I lived a good life? Have I lived? Have I lived a good life? Have I lived? Have I lived a good life? Have I lived? Have I lived a good life?
Friends, I don't know if you've come to any new answers, reaffirmed former ones, found the space for something new to break in, or just said, you know what, there's too much going on in my life right now to ponder such a big existential question. If that's true, that is completely okay. I encourage you to come back to the question at some point. For now, let's take all of our answers and all of our experience and everything that makes us us and bring it together in the crucible of prayer. Let's pray. We give you thanks, O God, for life, for the many twists and turns, the hills and valleys, for the potholes and the mountaintops and everything in between. We give you thanks for the moment where we're sailing along on freshly laid, smooth pavement without a ripple, and for the moments where we have to navigate around holes in the road that have no right in being called potholes, because they're more like truck holes. Help us to call to mind the people that have helped us navigate all of those twists and turns and variations. We give you thanks for the moments where we have been brought to tears. The moments where we've laughed so hard our faces hurt. The moments when we didn't have any idea what to say. The moments when we've just sat in silence. We give you thanks for the moments where we've been stirred to anger. We acknowledge the moments of anxiety and fear and depression and grief. We give you thanks for a good life that has all that we've mentioned as part of it. We give you thanks and pray that you might help us struggle to find the right balance for us. Help us, O God, to give more than we take. Help us to respond to the need of friends around us and ensure that they are never forsaken. Help us to love with all we can, with every fiber of our being. Help us to love, and in loving, ensure it's others and ourselves. Help us to fight the fights worth fighting and not get distracted by noise and superficial realism, by popularism, or what seems to be the in-buzz item of the day. Help us to right the wrongs that desperately need righting. And help us to put loving our neighbors, loving creation, loving you, loving ourselves, all above greed. We pause, O God, to name in silence or aloud in the spaces where we're located the names of people and places and events that we would hold in prayer this evening. You call each of us, O God, to live a good life. Not a perfect life, for even creation isn't perfect. You pronounced it good. And good is enough. So may you bring us the comfort and the courage, the strength and the perseverance to embrace a good life. So be it. Amen. Friends, thanks again for joining with us here at Trinity United Church in Prince George, British Columbia. As I mentioned, 3 times a week, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, at 7 p.m. Pacific, we post a new video similar like this one for Pause. It's our sincere hope that wherever you find yourself in this moment, it's a place where you can be calm, be safe, and be community. Let's continue to invest in the common good and common health of one another. Particularly, that means wearing at least a 3-ply mask. At least for now. Together, let's help one another live a good life. Walk beside one another. Uplift one another. And if need be, even carry one another. After all, no one can make the journey of life a good one alone. That's it for now. We'll see you next time, here on Pause, with the people of Trinity United Church in Prince George, British Columbia.